boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm ForClassic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in it is Hellpoint, a game developed by Credo Games, which is a new developer team. This is their first project and they are using Unity engine to power up their project. So Hellpoint, it is quite an easy game to run. I'm playing with a 1440p with absolutely maximum settings over here, as you can see. And I will jump just immediately to the results and requirements. So the recommended settings, the recommended system, I mean, for the game, they do recommend a 4-core with more than 3 GHz, 6 gigs of RAM and the GTX 1050. So we are clearly way and above the recommended settings. And so with the maximum settings, these was the results that I did gather. So at 1080p, the average was above 100 frames per second with a 1% low of 81. 1440p, the resolution that I decided to use for this video, I got an awesome average of 78 and a 1% low 63. Well, it was above 60 frames per second, but I'm not really sure if in, forward levels of the game, if it will be more demanding or not, if it will cause drops or not in performance. So 1440p might deliver 60 frames per second throughout the entire test that I've performed, but it doesn't mean that it's going to handle 60 frames per second throughout the entire game, because we know how games are. There are scenarios more demanding than the others, so I'm not really sure if 1440p will guarantee you those 60 frames per second experience throughout the entire game. But still, I decided to play at 1440p these sequences of the video. Alright, so 4K, the experience was also above 30 frames per second. So yeah, if you are aiming for 30 frames per second, you can play the game at 4K, above 30 frames per second. And if you want to reduce some of the settings to improve slightly better the performance, the settings that I do recommend, it is dropping down the ambient occlusion and also dropping down the shadow quality. Despite the shadow quality, it doesn't make too much of a difference in this game, since it seems that mostly this shadow quality only affects the shadows on the characters and not on the environment. Alright. So, but the big question I believe that you have is, what is this game, Hellpoint? So Hellpoint, it is pretty much a Souls-like game, alright? So, just like many other games this generation, but unfortunately for the developers, this game haven't been really well received. So on Metacritic, the score of this game, it is around 60, so it's a very low score in my opinion. And the Steam users are about 70% of score. So I mean, I've been playing a little bit of the game, and I don't think that the game it is that really bad. It's just uninspiring in my opinion, because for example the art style of this game, it is really bland. You just have like these corridors, these dark gritty science fiction corridors, and I have nothing against the fact that it is dark and it resembles the future hellish Doom style. I have nothing against that. I think it's great. But I mean, the corridors itself, they lack detail. It seems like they didn't put too much love into the level department. If you compare it to a Dark Souls or to the Surge, for example, there is a ton of detail on their levels, alright? They might be simple corridors, but they are populated with tons of details, which make them really great, alright? And unfortunately, what I do find about it, about Hellpoint, is that yes, it is lacking some detail. Most of the corridors are just, simple corridors. Although the level designs are great, so there are multiple paths which you can take. There are kind of secret paths which you need to find in order to find stuff. So I think in that regard, in the level design department, it is great. But on the level art style, for example, I don't really enjoy that much. I think that they could have done so much better regarding to that. Gameplay wise, I do think that the gameplay works really well. I've been reading some comments on Steam page where people say that the combat it is clunky. I fully disagree. Alright, I think that the combat it is responsive. On the worst case, what I do think that the combat might be a little bit clunky, it is when you are pressing to attack. Sometimes there are some sort of latency into it, where you kind of just want to attack 3 times, and at some point it just attacks 4 times for some reason. Alright, it's like a latency. You press it so much times to attack that the game registers all the times, or almost all the times, that you press to attack. So it's the only downside that I have found so far. I think the combat works really well and it is smooth enough, so I don't agree mostly with the comments that people are saying about the combat of this game. I think it works pretty well, and it's pretty surprising for a first project by this studio. So yeah, it is good. Also, that is one good thing about this game is that it supports cooperative. So it works pretty much the same way as the Dark Souls. So you can summon your friends or other players to help you out with some of the bosses or help you out with the game. So I think in that regard, I think it is honestly pretty good. Because for example, the Surge, it is great, and I do love the Surge. It is a futuristic Dark Souls style game, but it is fully single player. While this game, on the other hand, it allows you to go cooperative with your friends if you want. And above all, this game, it is not even expensive. It costs $29.99. So it's not an expensive price. It's like the developers exactly know that they don't have in here top tier product, so they can't really charge a full price for their game. And yeah, I think it's mostly that. But yes, the game just scored too low. I mean, the only downside I really see is really just the level art style. I think the rest of the game just works amazingly well. It is responsive. It is well optimized, but it is just uninspiring. All right, same type of enemies, the same type of corridors all the time. So it is just, I don't know. It is just that. All right, but I think the price it is completely correct for the game. I think $29.99 it is a good price for what it offers. But it is hard to recommend because if you have, for example, if you want something futuristic at Dark Souls style, you can buy the Surge, which is a great game if you want. So there are a ton of Souls-like games that are just better than this, more inspiring, more original, alright? And this one, it is just pretty much like a copy of the entire Dark Souls gameplay, Dark Souls / Bloodborne, and they kind of just build it into a dark science fiction environment, alright? It works great, but it is just uninspiring, alright? So I think that's all that I want to talk about the game. So I think it is a good game, honestly. If you already played The Surge, if you already played Dark Souls, and you want another Souls-like game to play, I think it is amazing because it is not expensive, and again, it works well, everything it is fine with the game. Despite people say that it isn't, for me it was perfect all the time. So it is just that. But if you never played The Surge, if you never played Dark Souls or any other game out there like Souls-like, probably you should play them first before going out and buy this game. Alright, so guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Hellpoint. Hope you did enjoy the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.